So everybody, we live. This is episode number 13. I have J Bug, J Spot Network, J Spot Network Online. Say hey, what's good?
What up, everybody? How's everybody doing out there in the internet land?
Internet land was good. Angel Reese's internet now, not no longer Beyonce's.
You know I'm a Reese. I'm trying to be objective, but you know I'm a Reese.
I love it. I didn't even know that's a thing now. Reese. I'm all for it. I know y'all are called the pieces. I like it. I'm a Reese. I like it. I mess with it. I mess with it. Tasha, how are you doing today? Great smile.
All well, all is well. Wise and wealthy. How y'all doing out there?
I'm all right. I hurt my middle finger. I'm not gonna show y'all, even though I just did. Jordan, how you doing, bro?
Somebody get this man a bag of ice for his injury, please.
Please.
He needs some Neosporin.
Right.
Neosporin.
And it needs a symphony too, right? Play the music.
Yeah, right. Jordan, Rob, say some words. How y'all doing? I didn't mean to introduce y'all both together, but you know, it is what it is.
How's it going? Excited to be here. Excited to get into these segments.
Podium finish.
Glad to be in the house once more. I think you're a fellow Filipino like me, aren't you?
No, I'm Chinese, man. Straight up.
Oh, you could pass as one of me. Look at this. We got the same hair, and I was like, dude, I'm in a rocking world. No, I'm doing great.
No,
I'm missing the WNBA, but obviously excited for the Olympics. Obviously the ones that didn't make it to their teams, I hope they're enjoying their R&R because it's going to be a grind starting in the middle of August. But it's going to be exciting to see how Team USA performs. I know Ro was there. You were in London. You saw all the great stuff that happened. You got to shout out to some players and challenge them. But I think they're going to do a great job in Paris. No doubt we're going to get the gold. So it's just a matter who gets second and third. So that's my opinion.
Amen. So, and funny enough, speaking about Team USA, the first question I was going to ask y'all, I mean, obviously the United States women, they're playing against Japan on Monday, and they just wrecked Germany, at least by 30 points. I wanted to ask you, I mean, do you feel like this was a true test of Team USA's capability, or was this just more so just a weak Germany roster? And I got two more questions to ask y'all. Is there anybody on this earth, do you feel like that could compete with this roster? And who do you expect to shine amongst everybody outside of Asia Wilson? Because I feel like everybody knows Asia Wilson's going to dominate this competition. Outside of Asia Wilson, who do you feel like is also going to dominate? You always have to add the disclaimer because she's the best player in the world by far. Let's start with Jordan. Why not? Actually, I lied. Let's go with Rob. Because you brought up Team USA. I think that's a great pick.
All right. So, in my opinion, I think no one's going to compete against Team USA in the Olympics, both men and women's. But the women's right now, they're just so built. I know they lost against the WNBA All-Stars, but then again, as you heard in the press conference in Phoenix, they were kind of like trying out some plays, feeling each other out in terms of the chemistry and the rotations. And Coach Reeve made it pretty clear, like he was disappointed about how they lost against them. They gave up so many points, but hey, look, they did a great job against Germany last week. They're determined to do really well. So I don't expect them to get anything less than the gold. They're going to probably dominate just like the men's team is doing right now. And as far as who's going to stand out in terms of players besides Asia, how about Sabrina? I mean, she's definitely somebody who I think is built for the international stage. She has a great 3-point game. She's also very complementary to Asia's style. So I think it's no surprise that Sabrina has been the Eastern Conference Player of the Week so many times this season that I think she's going to carry that over in this year's Paris Games. So I look for Sabrina to do some threes and delight the crowd and hopefully make them forget about this whole what happened to Caitlin Clark. Where is she? Like, why is this happening thing? So because I'm kind of tired of it myself.
Yeah, the crowd's going crazy about Sabrina. Like I mentioned last week, they love her. They love her for sure. So anybody else want to chime in? Y'all chime in, please.
Okay, I guess I'll go. I agree with what Rob said. I mean, U.S. has been dominating they're going for their 8th gold medal. They've been dominating since, I believe, 96.
Yeah.
And I mean, the talent just keeps getting better. So I don't really see it. I mean, not to say that international isn't also getting better. They may have some competition coming up, but I think ultimately U.S. is going to, get another gold. I don't know. I think last time they played, they were undefeated the whole season. So we'll see how that goes. But someone that stands, I mean, Asia is always at the top of my mind. But I will say Stewie was right behind Asia in this last game. The one that they did with Germany. Stewie is quiet. Stewie will just like in the All-Star game, people were talking about Enrique, and Stewie was like right behind her. Nobody,
Like
it wasn't. Yeah, 31, right? Which was matching the record from last year, or obviously Enrique beat that with 34. But Stewie's right there, so I think she's someone to watch too that just may end up going off.
As good as she is, I think she's underrated, which is even crazy. Like I think she's severely like Asia's obviously I think again 1A of the world, but Stewie is like right there. She's great.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I agree with that thought process. Brianna Stewart was my pick in regards to a standout. But I think the way she plays quietly, and I think the way that she contributes to the game is personality. And I don't know her personally, but those quiet points where she just gets the job done. It doesn't have to be a lot of flash. It doesn't have to be a lot of flair. She goes in to do exactly what she needs to do, and she comes out the way she comes out, which is right there. 3 contenders, right? Like she's right there, always in the top 3 for me. And so, yeah, I think Brianna Stewart is going to be one of the persons who stands out, and she doesn't even have to talk about it. And I think that's important, right? Like you see what I do, and I that's kind of a it's kind of a humble brag at the same time. A lot of people have all of these thought processes around the players, and she doesn't have to brag about herself, but humbly we know that she brags about herself in my thoughts. So I don't think the USA team will have much trouble. I think the most trouble they've had it on their home turf. They had it with the WNBA, and I think that's a testament to what we have in the WNBA. Right, our girls are very good. Our young ladies, our women are competing on a whole nother level, and I think that's imperative to find out, imperative to know. And it kind of reminds me of how the NBA was 20 years ago.
Speaking of which, that's what I was gonna say too, because I don't think the rest of the world has caught up. And then I'll let you kind of go, Jordan, first before I kind of speak my points.
So I actually rewatched the USA Germany game right before we went on air, and Germany actually missed a lot of open shots in the first half. That game could have been a lot closer because USA didn't actually run away till the fourth quarter. But Germany's roster, I mean, I think the world has caught up a little bit. They're probably like a decade or so away, from making it a real competition. But Germany's roster, is full of WNBA talent. The Savly sisters, Geiselholder had some good takes at the rim. She was drafted with the 21st pick 4 years ago. And then Fidic had a couple of tough threes. She was drafted with the 22nd pick in 2020, and she's finding some playing time on the bench on the Liberty this year. Alexis Peterson played for the Storm.
I was waiting for that name. I was like,
yeah,
that name.
She's really good.
Bro,
she's a crowd favorite. Yeah, and the FIBA rankings. I mean, there's USA, China, Australia, Spain, Canada, Belgium. I think the team to watch is actually Belgium, because in the Olympic qualifying tournament in February, Belgium lost the USA women's team 81-79. They lost by 2 points to the women's team. It's important to note that Asia Wilson did not play in that game, but pretty much like the whole Olympic roster played in that game, other than her. But I still think that Team USA is going to win. It's just the world did catch up a little bit, though. A little bit.
One thing I'll say to add, I don't think obviously anybody will do anything against the U.S., but I do want to highlight Toby Fournier because she can dunk, and she's 18 years old. She plays in France, and this goes to the evolution of the game. She's going to be an upcoming freshman at Duke University. I mean, like, the girl is dunking in the half court. Like, I am so intrigued in watching this woman play basketball. Like, I am just so intrigued in watching her play. Like, I know I'm going to say this again. I know the United States are going to run through everybody and anybody that they compete with. But when I watch somebody like Toby, and then when I see the other women in the game, like we talked about Kiki not too long ago, I want to see how she's 18. So I want to see how she's going to compete on the Olympic stage. And again, obviously she has to get some strength. She's got to get some muscle, but the athleticism is there. She's 6'2", and she's in the half. Again, she is in the half court dunking. Like, I'm gonna see if I can show y'all a clip. But like, she is literally just catching the ball off of like inbound plays and just yamming. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is a warm up. So I mean, again, Asia Wilson, best player in the world by far. But just seeing, like, there are some players in this Olympic tournament who are playing well, Megan has been playing well for Spain. Li Yuru had 31 tonight against for China. She is hooping. I mean, like there's a lot of competition. Jordan just mentioned Alexis Peterson. So I don't think anybody collectively, because like you said, collectively, I feel like the world is maybe 10 years behind.
Yeah.
But I feel like there are like bits and pieces of players who are like, oh, this is somebody that you need to look out for in the next 2 to 3 years. And I think with Toby, again, I'm like so intrigued to watching her play in this upcoming season, especially at Duke. I think she's gonna be a player. I don't know how good she's gonna be in the future, whatever, but I think she's gonna be something to watch. So that's my whole take on just regarding again, I don't think anybody's gonna railroad. I watched that game in London, and like you said, they pulled away in the fourth. That was really just because I feel like they just got lackadaisical. Like they just missed shots. They put the same way I feel about how we were talking about Steve Kerr, Jordan. I'm not gonna say anything too bad about Cheryl Reeve because I think she's a great coach. And like me and Rob were saying, I think she that team, the Minnesota Lynx, they could get out the West this year. But I mean, some of these lineups, I'm like, come on, y'all, I didn't like the fact that Jackie Young was buried on the bench until the third or fourth quarter, and then she came in and she drops 13. She's like the second leading scorer. I'm like, come on, what are we doing? And I mean, that's just back to how
Taurasi starting.
Taurasi started. I don't mind her. I don't mind her starting, and we could actually talk about her next. But I don't mind Diana Taurasi starting. To be honest with you, why? What you sound? Go speak your piece, and then I'll get onto it. Speak your piece. My next segment.
I just like, I don't know. I mean, it just rubs me the wrong way that she's on the team, and whether you're Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese, like whatever, like it's like, I looked it up. Caitlin Clark is 22 years old and 6 months. Okay. Diana Taurasi, when she got her first gold medal, was 22 years old and 1 month. So Taurasi was even younger than Caitlin Clark when she got her first gold medal. Sue Bird was 23. Sylvia Fowles was 22. Candace Parker was 22. Maya Moore was 23. I mean, there is a precedent for having a young player on the team. I don't know, man. Like 6 gold medals, like, come on. Like, there's a reason you're going for a record. No one's done it before because it shouldn't happen. Like,
right.
Why not though?
That's a good.
If she's in good condition and she can play, why not?
Let's hear it. And before you answer, let me play these comments because So what I wanted, that's funny that you brought that up. That's a great question, J Boog. I want to hear what both of y'all think. But this is what Taurasi had to say about everybody telling her to retire. I don't know if y'all saw this.
She needs to retire.
I tell them, if there's one thing you can't escape in this country or in this world, it's ageism. As I look around here, I've gone back and forth with this answer, with these feelings about this question. When you dedicate your whole life, your whole career to something, and you get the question of, why don't you just retire? It is a bit disrespectful. And I'm here to compete. I'm here to play at a high level. I'm here to give to my teammates. And I'm here to win a gold medal. That's it. I don't care about the last 20 years. I'm worried about the next 20 years. Only a woman would have 20 years of experience, and it's heal instead of something that is treasured and used as a way forward for our sport and for women.
What do you? Okay, so now I'm gonna let you go. Go, Jordan. So what were you gonna say? So I wanted that in the air, just so, I didn't want it out of context.
So I mean, we're trying to replace this woman with another woman. So I don't think gender is an issue here at all, because we're talking about like other women that should take her spot. But ageism. I mean, there's no discrimination for being old. There's always been a unsaid sort of commitment to investing in the future, and it'd be important to have these younger players. I mean, I think it helps when you have younger players on the team to give them that experience, so that the next time, like they aren't coming in like super scared, or like the stage isn't too big for them. I think it's I mean, that's what we've done in the past. I mean, I don't know how important that's been to our success in the previous 6 Olympics. I only went as far as 2004, but I mean, like, is she qualified to play? Arguably. Should she play? Probably not.
Boog, obviously I think you disagree. What do you think? Why do you think she should play?
I mean, I still don't understand why she shouldn't. I mean, if she's on the court and she's not performing, or she's holding the team back, or she's like really injured and we're just hanging on to her like, some sick dog or something, then yeah, I can say drop her because she's not doing anything. But she is contributing. She is playing. She's scoring points. I mean, she may not be the leading scorer, but I mean, that's not what the Olympics is. The team really is about. It's about people contributing in different ways. And she has the experience. If you want to go win another gold medal, why wouldn't you have someone on there that has won before and been a part of the streak that has been going on this whole time? So I don't see a reason for her not to be on there. I don't feel like she took anyone's spot, because if they really wanted to give that spot to someone, I think they probably would have. I'm not on the bus of adding Caitlin or Angel. I know people disagree with me on that. I feel like I know you do. I feel like for me, the people that were there were on the team. They went to the exhibitions. They went to practice. It's not their fault they were in college competing. Caitlin competed up until the last day. But I just don't agree with just popping them on there because at that time they were popular players and yeah, they were good, but they weren't battle tested to say, can they be on this Olympic team? And just like Don Staley said today, based off, I think they were going to do Caitlin like a trial based off her game she was playing in the beginning. Based off that, they just didn't see anything that would supersede getting her on the team versus taking somebody else off. Now she's had some time in the game. She's gotten adjusted, and they said they might have considered that. But I think it's a rush. It's just a rush. These young women they are 22. Yeah, I mean, are there any other 22-year-olds that could have made it? Maybe. But I think we're trying to rush because we're fans first and we're going off the hype of these players versus like what's the real goal here. The goal is to go there and get a goal and based off people that have been playing together, that have, like I said, have been battle tested. And it's also the chemistry of the game. It was a lot going on in the beginning when they started choosing players as far as Caitlin and stuff is going, and fan bases and all this other stuff. It was just a lot of extra noise that had nothing to do with basketball that was like interfering with a lot of stuff. So I think that probably was a little bit of a factor, but I still feel like they just should have had some skin in the game. So 2028, yes. Yes. National team next year, yes, whatever. I just feel like they didn't have ample time to get ready, Angel and CC, to fully like form and get there with the team. So I don't know how fair it would have been for them to just be thrown on that team, but that's just my opinion.
Tasha, fire away.
Yeah, I do want to bring up the point in regards to ageism. I just want to compare it to the in NBA, right? We are celebrating LeBron James being at this high level and being able to compete at this high level and being on top of the game when he's about to turn 40 in the next couple of weeks, or not next couple of months. So in the thought process, there is a difference and a variance in regards to, equity in regards to how we look at women with experience and opposing them against men who come with experience. So I think that's prevalent to say. So in the thought process, I am not one of those persons who believe that DT should remain. I think that she has the right to choose when it's time for her to go. And I do believe that athletes, especially athletes who have done this job to a high level, sometimes have a hard time of letting go when it's time to let go. But I do think that is her choice to determine when she can, when it's time to let go. One of the things that really bothers me in the thought process is that we're trying to expand the league, especially the WNBA, and add 15 players and add 2 more teams. But in the thought process, are we making room for the young ones to come, right? In the thought process, are we making room for the young ones to come? Are we just expanding it because we want to keep, the experience around? And it might be beneficial for both ends, right? We might be expanding it so the veterans can stay around to help guide these young players. And at the same token, right, we might be taking away spots in the thought process of these young players who can come in and change the league. My issue with this team, and I think my issue with this team is that we have left off key players like Enrique Agubala, right? I think that she should have a part of the team, and she's had to remove herself twice in regards to the thought process because she knows the politics and everything else that goes behind. I do also feel like the WNBA take time to, just like our counterparts, to form a team with good chemistry, that they should have practices throughout their off season, the ladies who are going to make this team, and that they should compete in some type of way and get paid for that, so they have that same consistency, that fluidity that these other teams have, that who spends a season, 2 seasons, 3 seasons playing with each other. And I think that's something that we as a league could grow this thought process, and see the future, foresee the future, because it's not going to be long where these other countries are going to be outplaying us, and we have to think about the future. And so when we're thinking about the future, we should do that.
Bro, yeah, I got a lot to say about you. That was great, Tasha. Not about it, but just a lot to think about, because you gave a lot of talking points. Rob, you don't speak.
Yeah, so I kind of see the argument that Diana's making, because in the world of male sports, obviously in the NFL, everyone was on the Tom Brady bandwagon when he was still playing and defying the expectation that a player past the age of 40 can keep playing at a high level, and he kept doing that. And I rarely heard anyone say, well, that old geezer should just give up playing football. Let's keep seeing him break records, get 7 rings as a MVP, and get those Super Bowl rings, whether with New England or Tampa Bay. But I guess from a woman's perspective, even though I'm a guy, it is kind of a double standard where we're all like, DT should have been left out. She's too old. She can't do it. Bring CC in, bring Angel in. And, y'all have brought it up already that, yeah, we can excuse the fact that they didn't have a chance to be in the trial, but being with their teams during March Madness. But yeah, I mean, if the trial period was what they were looking for from Caitlin in the WNBA, I'll be honest, and I'm a huge CC defender, she didn't show enough to me to be on the team. Now, granted, she was learning the WNBA style. There was a lot of pressure for her to go from Iowa Caitlin to Indiana Caitlin. But the first month, I'll be honest, she looked like she was not ready for prime time. Obviously, I think everyone's kind of riding on the sentiment now, what we see in the last month and a half. She looks exactly like what we're hoping to her to be like, even though she's been kind of ragged out. She's tired. So I don't think we missed out on Caitlin, although I do kind of feel like on the marketing side, and then we've talked about this a lot, that they missed out on that. I'm kind of curious what we could have been like if we had Angel on the team, though, because that would have been something to have her physical presence, rebounding the ball, getting there, like those easy layups and all. That would have been such a fun sight to see for sure, because she's been in Paris, and she kind of looks like she wish she could have been on the roster. So if anything...
Bro, she is salivating to play. She's on the sideline every game watching them. Yeah. I'm like, I feel you, mama. I feel you. Every game I'm seeing her just sitting there like, you know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I understand. You got to wait for more. I understand. But she is begging to be on that court. Because I'm like one, go, Jordan. I'll let you go. Go fire away, Jordan. Fire away.
So in 2008, Sylvia Fowles makes the Olympic team at 22 years old, averaging...
That's what I was getting ready to get.
10.5 and 7.5. 10.5, 7.5. Sue Bird, in her third season in the league, plays for the 04 Olympic team, averages 13, 5, and 3. I don't think ageism has anything to do with sex. We just saw the most powerful man in the world kind of lose his job for being old.
Also gonna get
so I don't know if gender is playing a role here in terms of the ageism thing. So go ahead.
So 2 things. Well, I lied. So 4 things to that. Yeah. So
4 things.
Jordan,
Jennifer's gonna kill me.
The first thing.
She's gonna just kill me.
The first thing was, I was thinking about that. Joe Biden, he got questioned about his age. Tom Brady, I disagree, Rob. Tom Brady was questioned about his age. Max Kellerman was one of the first people standing on the Hill when Tom Brady turned 37. And he talked about how Brady should be retiring in the next 2 to 3 years, right? And then he ended up playing 7 more years after, which just shut Max up. Kobe Bryant, when he was on his 18th and 19th year before his Achilles injury and after his Achilles injury, was also questioned about his retirement. LeBron James, last year at the ESPYs, also questioned about his retirement. So the only thing I kind of disagree with Taurasi is with her saying, if you're getting old, or if you're getting older and you have a lot of experience, people want you out of the league. I don't personally think that people want him out the league, but I do think that the questions are valid. And I don't think that she should be limited to Boog's point. I don't think anybody should force her out of the league. I think she should walk out on her own merit. And this is what I was going to say. So Taurasi right now is averaging 16 a game. So she's still a contributing factor. She's still a bucket. And as a third option, as a 42-year-old, that's a great position to stay in. Kalia Copper and Brittany Griner obviously are taking the reins on that team. I'm good with that. What I'm not good with is like what people saying, oh, she has to retire, this and that. Now, to the Olympic part, she is the first person I'm selecting on the roster, period. So to push back against your point, Jordan, I like to have the most accomplished players I want, every time I try to create an Olympic roster in my mind or whatever, any type of roster, I want to have a dream team put on. And what that means is, to me, I know obviously Taurasi is not in her prime, but she's the first person I'm calling, period. So she's going to be the first person I'm calling because she's the most accomplished. And when you look back at this roster in 20 years, you're going to have a Taurasi on the roster, right? So I want to have her on that. I want to have her on the list. That's where I'm going to start. So it will start with her. It would start with Asia. It would start with Stewie, and then it would be Fee, and then I'm shuffling the entire deck. All, like I told y'all last week, anybody that's in their first year on the Olympic roster, I'm most likely going to put in. But everybody else outside of the three that has a lot of experience, I'm gonna try and shuffle in. I'm gonna put in Enrique. I'm gonna put a Ryan. I'm gonna put an Alicia. I'm gonna put an Angel, and I'm gonna put a Cece. And if you want to add more vets after those 5 names have been added, I'm all good. And I'm gonna add a Dejanay Carrington for sure. So if you want to add names after those 6 names, I'm good with it. But what I don't, and like I love Jackie Young, I love Chelsea Gray, but like they played on this roster 6 or 7, like they played on it. You know, they've been in the league. They're about to win their 3rd straight ring, and I love the fact that they're getting ready to dominate in Europe. But I feel like they kind of missed the boat. Just introduce some more fans, and just to the point, like you said, Rob said it. She's just been sitting on that sideline. She's in Paris right now, just waiting to play. She's waiting for an injury, saying, "I'm here right now. I'm here right now. Somebody's hurt. I'm here. I can fill in right now." And I don't blame Angel for that because she's talented enough to play on the roster. And I get to Rob. So Rob, you were saying that when Caitlin first started playing, that she didn't look great, right? In her first WNBA game, she had 20. Even though she didn't look great, she had 10 turnovers, right?
You pushed the button, Rob, just letting you know.
Oh, I'm a Caitlin fan. Don't worry. I have some thoughts.
What I was going to say, though, is that I feel like outside of everything that she did in college, Taurasi was able to join the roster out of college. Breanna Stewart was able to join the roster out of college. So why are you trying to judge Caitlin on a higher – I mean, I already know why you're trying to judge her on a higher standard. It's because you got that much more expectations for her, which I'm good with. But it's like if you're gonna move the goalposts for her, then you have to move it for everybody else. And I don't think that it's fair that you're gonna move the goalposts for this one talent who just dropped 41 points against LSU and who fried your team, Dawn. She fried your team. She fried your team. No matter what she didn't or did do in the WNBA, she fried your team. So I'm like, to tell me this,
the year prior?
Yeah, the year prior. When they beat them. Now, obviously, they lost.
Yeah, but then they beat them and got the championship. So you think she's still holding on to that?
Not at all.
A little bit. I think all of them are. I think a lot of them are. I think a lot of people don't like Cheryl Reeve. Cheryl Reeve didn't like the fact that Caitlin was. Everybody was talking about Caitlin. A lot of people did not like Caitlin, and they still don't. Yes. They didn't like the fact that Caitlin Clark was taking up headlines. She was taking up this. She's taking up that.
Pass.
But I mean, I feel like it's a part of the times now. The only thing I really did want to see was for Taurasi and Clark to play on a roster together, for the simple fact that, again, I think that there would be and Reeves. I want to add her too, but I want the most accomplished player in the W, arguably right now, to impart the wisdom to the next generation. And I feel like that was something that they missed, and it would have been really cool to just see both of them on the court together.
Can I rebut that?
Yeah, go fire away, please.
Yeah.
That was
my thought process in regards to both Angel and Caitlin. I don't know if any of you are parents, but I'm a parent, and sometimes you want your children to have the best right early, but when you give them the best early, they sometimes can't handle it. And so I think both Caitlin and Angel should earn this way into the Olympic status, and I don't have a problem with that. In the thought process, I don't have a problem with that. But for some reason, I think we are still overlooking the elephant in the room. Enrique, right? Like,
Yeah.
Should have been.
I'm big
Very-
on that one.
I said that from Jump Street. Yeah,
Yeah.
she should be
Yeah.
gone from day one.
She
So-
should have been on.
Yeah, before we
Yeah,
even
we
talk
talk
about
about
Caitlyn and Angel and how much they bring to the game, how much notoriety they bring to the game, and what they could possibly do, you're leaving out players that should be there, right? In the thought process. And I think that is the issue. Like, how much more political does this have to be in order for players like Enrique to make the team? And I think that's what we should unfurl in the thought process. But
I agree. I agree with that 1,000,000%. I mean, like I thought she should have been picked.
Yeah.
She
For
should have been
sure.
one of the first 5 people
For
picked. I
sure.
love Talia. I think she's just as talented as Kali. So I'm like, there's no reason why she shouldn't be there as well. I mean, but again, I mean, that's Los Angeles is gonna have a stacked roster. Let's just say that because they're gonna the women that didn't get picked, they're gonna be tight. But what I don't want to
Rob
see.
has something.
yeah, what
Yeah,
you
Rob,
think?
we don't want to see like 12 new people. I want to see like a mix of both. But what were you gonna say, Rob?
No, I mean, just to counter my earlier point, I mean, I'm speaking from a devil's advocate perspective. You want to hear the real Rob Tionk's opinion about Caitlyn not making the Olympic roster. Not only is it a big blunder on the marketing side, and I do think the big elephant in the room too with Caitlyn is that there's a lot of hate with her too. A lot of jealousy about what she brought to college. Because like I said in the last time I was on the show, I come from the world of NASCAR. I covered NASCAR, still do it today. But a lot of the races that were airing on FS1 or Fox, guess what? They were preceded by Caitlyn's games in Iowa. And I was so enthralled by what she was doing on the court because, let's be honest, I didn't really watch a lot of women's basketball. I'm kind of an idiot, not watching it at all. But I watch Caitlyn's games and I'm like, so out of this world. It's amazing. I'm going to make this appointment TV all the time. And I made sure I watched every game, every March Madness. I learned about her history, her life and everything and career. And she is a very dynamic player. Personally, for me, I think if they were judging off of her first months in the WNBA, that was kind of harsh because obviously she's turned it around. She's been amazing. But I'm just kind of speaking more from the Team USA perspective if I could be in that room with them. Unfortunately, that was what they're thinking. And I think a lot of the veterans, not all of them, but there's some veterans and Coach Reeve, we did have a little bit of antagonism towards her. Because I remember like mid-May, that league pass situation, like that's ridiculous.
That's what I'm talking about. Right.
So dumb.
Right.
What's the league? What was that?
So Cheryl was talking about it's not only go bro. No, fire away because I'm gonna run into her next week.
All right. Well,
All right, you
since I
better
don't
watch
cover
your
the-
words,
I'll
DJ.
be careful. Well, anyway, so I remember the League Pass tweet on the WNBA's X or Twitter post. They were like, catch Caitlyn's game on League Pass, get a glimpse of the future, watching her play against the Dallas Wings and Enrique Ogunbowale. And then Reeve was just so pissed off about it on Twitter. Next, she's like, hey, don't forget, there's more than one player in one team. How about my links?
I'm
Watch
like,
our.
what?
And I'm just like, of course we know about your team, but
this is
I
like, bro, like, come on.
I remember that now.
Yeah.
Nah,
Like,
okay.
I'll be
What's-
honest, from an
nah.
outsider's perspective, like, okay, I call Caitlin Clark the best basketball player for women's in terms of like the new fans, like not just for me covering the sport, but like I call her the grandfather's favorite player because my dad watches her games and he never really watched women's basketball. My dad and my niece, they take time to watch the Indiana Fever games now. It's appointment television for them. So they get to know about Caitlin, Enrique, all of these talented 144 women players in the league. Thanks to Caitlin and other players. But again, I don't want to make it seem like I'm an antagonist towards Caitlin. I'm just kind of playing it both sides. But if you ask my honest opinion, we struck out on this, man. It sucks, but it is what it is.
Yeah, my only
I
thing
respect that too, Rob.
my only
I'm
thing
not
about-
against you. I don't agree, but I respect you.
That's fine.
Tasha, why you say
Yeah.
you don't think that they earned it though? Like, so, and just to, if I could add more context, again, Stewie was selected out of college. Taurasi was selected out of college. They didn't judge her off of her first month in the WNBA, which again I think is incredibly like egregious to do anyway. She's a rookie and she's a point guard playing one of the hardest positions in the league.
I just think that sometimes, like I said before, I'm a parent, right? And when I gave both of my children too much too soon, they did not appreciate it with the same type of value of earning it. And I think that is something to be said, right? And I do believe that both of them have the talent to be there, but I don't believe that they should be given a chance just because they are talented, right? In the thought process. And I'm not saying that they, well, yeah, this is what I'm saying. I just think that it's giving anybody too much too soon can take away the value that is necessary to continue to compete in order to feel like it's ownership. And this is something that I earned. This is not something that was given to me. And I think it's imperative. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want my children to have the best, and I'm sure the WNBA wants everything to be the best. They want to send the best representatives, but I think that they have a little bit more working out to do, a little bit more kinks to learn, a little bit more knowledge to learn about the game, to get their basketball IQ up at this level. I think that there's some differences between the NCAA and between the Olympic team, and, to be honest, between the professional team. And I think that they have some work to do in order to get the differences up, and they need to learn that. And that comes with time. And, it just comes with time. And so that's my thought process. And I'm going to stand on that. Like, I believe that they should be there, but in time. And
I agree.
In Indiana, it's raining right now. So the power just went out.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Okay.
Hope you're all right.
That's why I want.
I'm good.
No, there's time. I want to piggyback on Tasha, because that's kind of what I was saying, that there's time. We don't have to rush everything. Can you imagine the players that Angel and Cece are going to be in 4 years when they get on that Olympic team? Like, they've already done so much in just a half a season, just improving on their game. Can you imagine 4 years later how dominant they're going to be? So I'm like her. Like, I just don't think we should be rushing them and pushing them out there. I'm not saying they can't play. I'm not saying they probably couldn't make the team. I just also felt kind of like there were some people on the team that got left off that was actually there with them, during the games and during the practice, like an Enrique that didn't make it. And I wouldn't feel, it don't matter how I feel if I feel it's right, but it just wouldn't feel right leaving somebody off like Enrique to put on, one of the rookies.
No,
I don't know.
yeah.
And I love Angel. Y'all know, I love me some Angel. Don't hate CC, but I wouldn't feel right.
I wouldn't put them over it, but like I said, I want to see, and then to Tasha, like what she was saying, how I want, like, there will never be another moment where Cece and Taurasi are gonna play. Yeah, like I like that they missed that. If I could just read one of these comments. So sorry, farewell put to everybody's point. Enrique, Caitlin, and Angel all should be on this team. And then let me see some more of these comments.
Yeah.
I think Dejanay should be on this team.
I don't know what that issue is.
The world put some of the team are too old. I disagree with that. I guess if you want to say that, the world, I'm good with it. But like I said, I wanted more of a youth movement on this team. I don't want to see 12 new players. I want to see 6 young bloods, and I want to see 6 like vets. Like, I think that's the perfect mix. Honestly, I think that would be like the perfect mix between everybody. And I think everybody walks away happy. Everybody gets what they want. You get the old guard, you get the new guard, you get new fans, you get old fans. Everybody watches together. We go from there. But it's all good. We're gonna see him in 2028. Like Angel's here in Paris. I'll see you. Like, you know what I'm saying? She's gonna be here tomorrow, like at the game. So it's all good. Like, life moves forward. But it like I said, we'll move on. Just regarding that, if anyone else had anything else to say, Jordan, you really has something to say. Rob, you too.
Me and you go to LA. We'll cover the 2018 because I want to be there.
Amen. Amen to that, for sure. I definitely want to be there. Yeah, please make, like, I told Boog today, like, yeah, that's the goal. I was trying to get everybody there for real. Outside of that, I want to kind of skip down. So we're gonna speak about just the WNBA expansion. So Candace Parker mentioning to increasing the roster to 15 players. We also heard about Kathy, Commissioner Kathy, speaking about making 44 games. What are y'all thoughts about this W? Like, everything that's progressing very fast. The league is just changing. So, do you feel like this is complicating the league's growth, or do you feel like the talent will be evenly distributed, like, amongst teams once everything starts to, I guess, matriculate? And if I could add this too, Tasha, you mentioned something about older players and making room for younger ones. I was going to say, like, players like Celeste Taylor that are buried off the bench, and, like, a lot of these players that are coming in to the draft are getting cut because they don't, quote unquote, make the roster. I'm like, young players shouldn't get cut, especially after getting drafted. That's all I want to say. But what are y'all thoughts about this expansion with the league?
Go ahead.
Tasha, go.
I'll be quick.
Okay, go ahead.
I think it should be an expanded roster. I was talking to someone earlier this season, just look how many people we have on hardship contracts because half the players have gotten hurt and we're having to go grab people just to cut them later once the player gets better. Like if we had a roster of 15 people, you have time to have develop the players that you may not be able to develop. You have the players to step in if someone does get hurt and you don't have to go, grab people for a few weeks just to cut them later. I mean, I think there should also be some kind of like development league, just like the NBA has, where these players are still being able to make some form of some money, but they're ready, they're in good condition, and you're not having to pick them from overseas or whatever. You have them ready to step in when the time is needed, or you give them that time to develop. But I like the 15 player roster. I just think is needed. The 12 is just too. I mean, two people get hurt and then half your team is gone. I mean, look at the Aces. We had 6 players that could play once, or 7 or something like that. Like it was literally nobody. Look how Dallas is suffering now. They half their roster is hardship contracts. So and now they have to make the decision of are we keeping Mo? Are we keeping who just came in the point guard?
Odyssey.
Yeah, Odyssey. Or are we going to cut, the people that's been sitting on the bench that's hurt or whatever? So it would help, I think, the league and the players as well. They deserve to have a roster spot, like you said. And if you're a brand new rookie, you're not even given a chance. You're just rotting on the bench, really, just to get cut later. Like a Peely, for instance.
That's all I got. Yeah. I'm not gonna say she's like a superstar, but it's like every young player should have the opportunity to earn their stripes in the league. Especially most players in the league, they get drafted. You get a month or two at least. I mean, good God, she just got buried on the bench.
Well, I think that's one of the changes that the WNBA has to make, right? I don't think that the league gave as much time as necessary for teams to congeal with one another, to be a part of the team that they're drafted to. And so I also agree that you should have 15 players. I do think that maybe we could look at it a little bit differently with the older players and maybe even have a veteran that stays on the team that are still productive, that could bring advice and give leeway to these younger players. But I do believe that the preseason needs to be longer. It needs to be time where the teams can gel with one another because they didn't have enough time for that. And we saw it play out in real action with Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese as it relates to the adjustment to the game, the quickness, the level of competition. Caitlin struggled in the first month, and that's partly because it was an adjustment. And we need to make sure that these young players who are getting drafted into this league and becoming players on these teams can really make the adjustment with veterans in their ear, helping them out with coaches, with being on the team before we actually make the cut. And so some of the things that we're talking about in regards to this segment needs to be WNBA changes and not necessarily team changes. This is WNBA. And in order for it to work and for them to expand like they're wanting to expand, adding 15 players, adding 44 games, adding 2 more teams, they need to really look at the calendar, really determine how this is going to work. How long is the preseason going to be? Who's going to be around as veterans and who's not? And who is willing to take on this thought process of pay in regards to what it looks like to be a superstar. And I think this is what Caitlin brought to the game that the other players couldn't for the last 30 years is that, some of this stuff that we're looking at that Caitlin did, adding the television, she had been playing this way for the last 4 years in college, having, television, being able to fly privately. This was before she even got to the league. And the league had to make those adjustments once getting there. Can you imagine sitting on a plane next to Aja Wilson, talking to her about her job, right? Because the league didn't value that these girls needed private planes. Right. It's this kind of stuff that the league needs to do. And these are not on the players. So before we start talking about adding and making sure, the league has to come to terms with what it is that they have to do in order to treat this league like a professional league. And I think that's my thought process in regarding all of that.
That part.
I was going to say, how about the fight? I forgot what happened to one of the players. I think it was Tierra McCowan or Kalani. They were in the stands and something happened. Oh, That's what we were talking about. But when Angel Reese was getting accosted by the crazy woman.
Jeez.
If I'm saying crazy woman, forgive me, but like
she was unwell.
She was literally
Did you see her tweet or her post?
I didn't see it.
She literally said, "Y'all can't get rid of me. I paid $1,200 for my tickets. There was no way Angel was not going to see me."
But did she
And,
say psych?
like,
She said like
she
psych
took-
or something.
Yeah, and then she took her kids' money. Like it just was an unhinged post, and just that was very probably scary. I mean, if you saw Angel's face when she popped out at her, she was like, "Whoa, what's
That's a
happening?"
whole
The
nother
security
thing that we
guards,
need
they
to
acted
talk
so
about.
fast though. They took her away immediately.
No, they did, but it still startled her a lot.
That's a whole nother thing that we need to talk about too, right? Like these DEI trainings that the league needs to handle to make sure that we understand, because just as Caitlyn is America's sweetheart, Angel took on this thought process of being the villain in order that you could have this good versus bad thought process, right? She took on that. She didn't even have to take on that. And I think that's a lot for a 22-year-old to carry. Okay, I can play this villain role if you want somebody to play the villain in order for Caitlyn to be the superstar. And then how do you have that adjustment? We saw that in the All-Star press conferences where they were sitting next to Angel and Caitlyn saying, "Oh my God, Jesus Christ, all of these questions are just directed towards you as if I'm not even here." And those ladies were in the thought process where I don't know if I could deal with that. And they're older, they're more mature, right? And so I think some of that training needs to go along with how the WNBA can make this league a better league overall, a more a league that is compatible with its counterparts, and a league that cares about its players, period.
I was gonna say, speaking about players, and I'll get to you, Robin. Jordan, if y'all had something to add. So some of the comments, Roy put CC broke records in college, setting WNBA records. So sorry, farewell. Put y'all see how fast Taurasi changed her tune after playing against Clark.
She didn't say anything.
Yo, she did. She said
What did she say? There was going to be an adjustment period?
Yeah, she
It
said
was.
And it was, right.
it was still snarky. It was still
I don't know.
snarky.
I think people are just sensitive about that. You can't. You couldn't say anything.
She was trying to see.
She's been in the league for 50 years. Of course, she's gonna have a little chip on her shoulder.
Well, and Caitlyn knocked that chip
As if
off.
Caitlyn was going to come to the league and struggle, which she didn't.
Yeah,
She did.
Caitlyn knocked that she knocked that chip off, and DD that DT had nothing but positive things to say after the chip got knocked off.
Right. After she put up that 34-point piece in Phoenix, where she scored nearly or assisted most of the points in the second half. Yeah, then she started changing her tune. But it's all good. Like I'm like, we're talking about an adjustment period. I'm like, okay, she stopped turning the ball over 10 times, and now she's putting up 19 assists. Is that the adjustment that y'all wanted? Like, I didn't think she struggled. Obviously, outside of the turnovers, which she could clean up, and she still can clean up, she dropped 20 in her first game. They played the team that's going to go to the WNBA finals. So it's like
Her shooting percentage was trash. We're not going to act like that's.
But compare her shooting percentages to the rest of the WNBA. It's not about. This is what I'm saying about the high expectation that we have for this woman.
Yeah, but y'all thought he was going to come in there and shoot 40 and be 50% and take over the league. That's what a lot of people thought. So people were just saying it was just going to be a transitional period where she won't be able to do exactly that. No, I don't think she was trash, but she did struggle a little bit in the beginning. At least that's what I thought. I mean, and she adjusted.
Were trash. She's not trash.
She figured it out.
Yeah, I mean,
I expect them to score 50, 40, 90 off rip. Like, no rookie is going to do that. But what were you going to say, Rob? Actually,
I think a lot of people that were saying, like, getting offended by that were more like the ones who just watched Caitlyn and didn't watch the league and didn't realize there's 143 other good players in the league. Because what a rude awakening for those Caitlyn Clark fans, or I'll call them the Clarkies, to see that there's a lot of talented women. The Connecticut Sun and the New York Liberty are not exactly the easiest teams to play against, and she was put to school. I think with the second game against New York, she didn't get a lot of points, which I don't.
She had like
the
3
New York
points.
game. That was rough. And then the one thing I think that the game that really tipped the turning point for her, there were 2 games in June. The one against the Connecticut Sun in Mohegan Sun Arena, where Coach Sy just benched everybody after the third quarter. That was humiliating for Caitlyn. I mean, that was just. I kind of disagreed with that move because I felt like that hurt her confidence. Because wasn't that not long ago after that when she played against Atlanta, I think on Friday night, and she struggled again, and then she was just playing, like, shooting around with Connor, And I was like, dude,
Yes, that was in Indiana. Yeah, yes, I remember
we're
that.
killing her confidence. And then thankfully she was able to turn it around because she's a baller, she's pro. But that's a lot to ask for a 22-year-old to do, because I remember when I was 22 years old, taking care of my family. I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is too much for me to handle. Like all the attention, like you were saying, Tasha, she's America's sweetheart in sports, and she is. That's a lot of weight on her.
It is. On top
And-
of the fact she's changing the stock in the game, right?
Yes.
She made sure that all of the players in the WNBA got private jets. She's making sure that we are looking at contracts outside of basketball. I think that's, I think originally the players who had these gripes about what she was bringing to the table were not looking at it from a business standpoint. And I think some of the players can take a business class too to help them with regards to stock value, right? She increased the stock value of the whole league, not just herself. And I think that's something to be said with that.
But this sounds like all the more reason to have had her on the Olympic team. You know, I mean, this is because it's like you're making the argument to have her on the team. I was thinking like, like Shaquille O'Neal, he remembers every slight that has ever happened to him, every annoying person that dunked on him, or like that's all he ever talks about, things from the past. He never talks about Yao Ming having more votes than him every year and being the starting center for the Western Conference All-Star. He never talks about that. Why? Because it's short-sighted to not put Caitlin Clark on the team. Of course, Taurasi is probably 2024 a better player than her. Arike is better. Of course, Arike should be on the team, but I feel like from a business standpoint, it's so short-sighted to not promote Caitlin Clark as much as we can so we can all get bigger contracts, more endorsements, private jets. It's just a better life if we push her on the team, if she's a comparable quality player. Comparable. I'm not saying put Tim Tebow ahead of Tom Brady. This is like a kind of a comparable, like Caitlin Clark's like a decent player. In fact, I'll go as far to say that people on the U.S. Olympic team should give up their spot for Caitlin Clark. If they cared about the growth of the game, get out of here. Caitlin, come here. Let's grow the game. Because you'll never hear.
Wait a minute.
You'll never hear Tracy McGrady complain about his fans in China. You'll never hear about Dwayne Wade complain about Lee Nate. He has a shoe deal from a Chinese shoe. Like, what is that about? I
think you're missing the thought process that as a rookie, she still has to listen to her body. She still has to listen to her body, right? Like we want her to have longevity in this league. We want her to have longevity in this country. And we have all of this stuff thrown into her in her freshman year. She's a freshman on the WNBA. So what happens in the thought process where all of this is, the pressure is on her to meet all of these people, to meet all of these players? That's a lot of pressure as a freshman. Allow her to grow into the league, allow her to grow into her to her status, and allow her to get some rest, to rest that body. We want to make sure that she's longevity. We don't want to push her out there as a business standpoint and then lose her next year, because that's going to cause major problems.
I support all that, but Taurasi played at 22, Bird at 23, Fowles at 22.
She's not Caitlin.
Candace Parker at 22 also.
All of them didn't have they didn't have television watching their every college game. All of them didn't have fans that they meet after their college game. All of them didn't have shoe deals. They didn't even play with meal deals. So it's not the same. 22 is different from DT and Candace Parker as it relates to Caitlin Clark. And I think I want to look for the longevity of Caitlin Clark. I want to see her later on.
If you want to be America's sweetheart, this is what you have to take on.
Well, her mental health has also been pretty bad too, because she's been subjected to some really stupid questions from the press. Not from us, but I mean, she's gotten a lot of crap from the media about like her where's her boo at? I'm like, come on, she's a woman. She's a professional.
But I don't like when they ask her questions that don't have. I mean, they should, but I try to talk to athletes about athletic questions. Tell me about this play in the third quarter. Tell me about this play at this length. Boog, you had something. You had a lot. You sounded like you had something to say to Jordan and refute it.
Jay, you have great teeth, by the way. You and Tasha have such nice teeth.
Shout out to Invisalign.
I like it.
I paid a lot.
I'm not shouting out anybody till I get a contract.
Hey, if y'all want to sponsor me, go right ahead.
Exactly.
No, I agree. A lot of it was what I was going to say, what Tasha was saying, just about, I mean, people were complaining that, she had a tough schedule in the beginning, which they did. I think Indiana played all these games. She decided, she didn't want to do the 3-point shootout because she said she don't want to touch a basketball again. She's tired. She's been playing since the finals of this is what she said. I'm not saying it. This is what she said.
I don't blame her. Yeah.
So she's tired. So then we want her to go to the Olympics to be more tired and not get a break and then go back to playing WNBA basketball, risk maybe injury or not being herself. So yeah, I think it's to Tasha's point. I mean, I think it's okay to just let them get a break. She does have a lot on her. Like what they say, heavy is the crown. If that's what you're given, I mean, how she's handling it is, anybody's opinion, but I'm sure that's a lot of pressure to have on that person since she's had it on since college. The other point, I guess, I don't know, I might be short-sighted in the Olympics. I know it's the biggest stage in the world, and of course you get to know the players and athletes that are there. But I mean, I don't think the Olympics need any more marketing. Like you're there to get a medal. That's the main job. So I don't think we need to prop a person up to, grow the game. People know who Caitlin is. We don't need to have her on the Olympic team to grow the game. Like if we were talking about just the W, that's one thing. But the Olympic team has never needed a certain player to grow their game or to grow their ratings or whatever. So I think we're getting that a little bit mixed up. Because people are going to know, like you said, DJ, people have been asking about Caitlin. They know who she is over there. Like they know she is overseas. So I don't think that part I don't necessarily agree with, that we had to have her on there for a marketing standpoint to grow the game, because I mean, that's not what the Olympic stage is supposed to be about. Now I know, if it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So it's always a piece of that's in there in everything that you do. So I totally get that. But I don't agree with that part.
My only thing right now is the same thing that Dawn Staley said like earlier and like now. She said if she could reconsider it, she probably would put her on the team now. And I'm like, she just had to break the WNBA scoring assist record. I mean, the assist record to do that. Are you kidding me? Like she was already balling before she came. Like before she did that, she was already balling. And then like, to your point, Bug, yes, they shouldn't have to do that. But right now, you could buy an Olympic ticket to any of the women's games, all of them, the gold medal game, the bronze game, the silver game, the Japan game. You could buy any one of their games right now. The men's game is completely sold out. So that's my only pushback, is like, if she were on that route, it would have already been sold out as well. But outside of the sellouts, I'm not going to. She is talented enough to play on the roster. Like I'm not gonna say she's the best point guard. And let me ask y'all this question right now. Diana Taurasi, I'm getting ready to have a TikTok about this. Diana Taurasi made all WNBA first team her rookie year. Y'all want to know her stats her rookie year? Actually, you don't, because it's not comparable. It is not comparable to what Caitlin is doing in her rookie year, and that's with the turnovers. So I'm gonna repeat that. Taurasi made first team all WNBA. She's one of the 5 best players in the WNBA with her rookie year stats. And they are not comparable to what Caitlin is putting up. So like now I'm gonna just ask you, I'm like, do you think this woman should go make all I think she should make all WNBA. Now, like, just when I look back at what are y'all, I kind of want to know what y'all think, because I'm like, when it comes to talent, it's like she's undeniable. Like her numbers are there. Her numbers are all there. Like there is no numbers that shouldn't suggest that she should not be on this team. That is my only take. And it's the same thing with Enrique. It's like their numbers do not say Angel too. Like all of their numbers suggest that they should be on the team. That is my only pushback. It's like I want the best talent on the floor at all times. I don't care if she's 18. If I could put Juju on this roster, I would. I don't care. Like I just want the best talent on the floor, and I don't think that the 12 best players in the WNBA are on that floor right now. And I'm good with it. But just don't tell me that they are. That's my only thing. Don't tell me that I'm looking at the best product I can. And that's minus Taurasi. Taurasi is in a boat of her own. She is not going nowhere. So that's my only thing with that whole discussion. So I don't care about their age. If she don't want to play, that's one thing. But if she's talented enough to put the girl on the roster. That's my only thing. If anybody had anything else, I want to speak about talent because I do want to talk about the top 25.
When you think about that, oh, go ahead, Rob. I'll go after you.
Yeah, I think Caitlin should obviously be in the All-WNBA team for this year, just because if we're looking at her now, just as a whole for the season, he's probably in the top 10 in most of the stats. I know Jordan's our stats guru and can crunch those numbers really quickly for us, but because he did in the last show, and I love that. But no, like look at her game. Look at how the Indiana Fever have turned their season around, because they were right there. The Dallas Wings were ahead of them in the standings at one point, even with all the injuries mounting to the Wings. And then Caitlin's game, as it got better, the Fever got better. She learned how to reduce her turnover. She learned how to be a playmaker, because she's not always just going to be a 3-point specialist. Everyone wants to see the logo threes, but if you read the book Unmatched, which consists of articles from like the local papers in Iowa, she talked a lot about wanting to be the playmaker. She doesn't want to shoot the ball all the time. She just wants to find the open lane to contribute to her teammates, whether in Iowa or now in Indiana, and we're seeing that. This is the Iowa Caitlin. Not the best one yet, but we're seeing that happening now. The transition is there. I think go ahead.
I was gonna say I think she's turning into I don't think she's gonna be this. I don't think she's gonna be a 40-point scorer. I think she can drop 40, but I think she's gonna be a 20-10 type of player, which is even better than what I expected. So
yeah,
like
I think she's gonna be a triple-double player. I really do.
Really?
Oh yeah,
I do.
How do you not have that on the Olympics? Are you kidding me?
I think over time that she's going to have more and more triple doubles. It's more because the way she passes the ball and I think more people are going to, especially her teammates, are going to get accustomed to that high, fast pace. The last couple of games I watched her, she was dribbling the ball, beating her teammates down the court. And that's hard to do as a basketball player. You know what I'm saying? That really should never happen. The point guard should never be beating you down the court when you don't have the pressure of being defended and you're just running straight down, you know. And that's coming from me as a basketball player. So in the thought process, if I was playing and my coach was yelling at us, Sharon Versip was my coach, she was yelling at us and that our point guard was beating us down the floor, we definitely would have been on the line running until we couldn't run anymore, until we were throwing up. So in that thought process, that's that. But I don't believe that the NBA or the WNBA make solid, sound decisions when it comes to first, second, and third team. You know, especially in regards to the NBA, how do you have a first, second, and third team and Jaylen Brown is not on the team at all, right? And so we need to, like I said before, these adjustments that are happening need to be adjustments that are happening within the company, not necessarily the players. You know what I'm saying? The WNBA has a lot to do in regards to making these type of adjustments, in regards to making clearly who needs to go where. Definitely, I think she should be a first team. I think Angel Reese should be a first team. The records that she has been breaking, you know, this year, and this is only half of the year. You know, she already has 16 double-doubles, and 15 of those were consecutive. That's bananas, right? In the thought process. There's no way that those two rookies don't make, and we can't even forget about Rakia. Rakia is making, you know, some noise where she is. And so in that thought process, we have a lot to determine, you know, who's going to be first, second, and third. But definitely those top two rookies are contenders in regards to being on the first team. And if the WNBA doesn't get that right, then maybe we need to apply for some jobs because they hire. They hire. The WNBA is hiring.
You know what I'm saying? I'm putting mine because I'm going to get a media vote in the next 3 or 4 years. Because I'm like, there's too many people that watch the sport that don't watch the sport. Again, I love Matthew. I'll see Matthew. Tasha, you'll see Matthew too. He called her Aja. I'm going to talk to him about that. I'm
exactly.
Like, yeah, nah. We got to have more people that are watching the sports in total. So
Angel got 17 double-doubles too, by the way.
Thank you for the correction.
Don't forget that one.
You can't count the All-Star because it don't count.
No. This is in the season.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
I stand corrected. But like I said before, she deserves not only, you know, sometimes we only hear about how many records that Caitlin is breaking, but Angel is knocking down records.
Yeah. I think they both will make it. Well, I mean, like Tasha said, we don't know, but I think both of them should be on the first team.
And you know what?
You got to now I'm push back. So because the point guard position is not as like stiff as the forward position in the W. Mm-hmm. So who are you going to knock off at the forward position? You got Fee, you got Stewie, and you got Asia. So who is Angel going to replace out of the three of them?
You know what they're gonna do is they're gonna put a rookie list together, right?
Mm.
And then they're gonna make sure that everybody is in where they're supposed to be. But I think that's a WNBA issue, right? Like, okay, we're gonna give the rookie all team. Nah,
don't they do that though? Don't they?
They do it, but I'm like, Caitlin's gonna make first or second All WNBA.
I mean, in that case, yes, I wasn't thinking about because ain't nobody taking Asia's spot.
No,
and they should.
I don't care who you are.
Nobody should take Lisa's either.
She's a center, isn't she?
Yeah.
Like the 3.
She's a 4 right now. She played 5 back when Candace was there, but I think she's considered a 4, right?
Is the voting like front court, back court, or is it like
front court, back court? It's 5.
Yeah, they front court,
Oh, okay.
And Angel played center
like,
too
put it-
sometimes.
He does, yeah.
It's just tough. Like I agree with both of you. Like on stats alone, but it's like Angel has to average. Angel because she's gonna pick up her scoring. Angel has to average more points. Like she's at 13, she got to put up at least 17 to 18. If she put because her competition is stiff, bro. That the 4 position.
Nobody's giving you the double.
Yeah, but they have better records, and so
Nobody's close.
If I could, you got 4 players right now. You could pick Angel, Fee, Stewie, and Asia. Who are you gonna pick first?
Are you talking about team record?
I'm saying just individual. You got Asia.
Oh, because I was like, you can't compare the teams.
But that goes into all of WNBA. They compare.
Yeah,
that
but Chicago is like starting from the bottom up. You got a championship team. You got a team full of all-stars. Yeah. So, I mean, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I love her too. But again, it's just you got 3 of the top 5 players that play your position, and it's like
it's kind of hard. I'm
Yeah.
looking it up.
I agree with you.
Who is Caitlin's biggest competition at the point guard? Alyssa Thomas, who's not a point guard. It's not Kelsey Plum, who's not a point guard. It's not Sabrina, who doesn't average more assists. So it's like, who is her biggest competition at the point guard? It's not Chelsea. She just came back. So
Well, change the rules. Make it the top 7. Change the rules because
I will put the 5.
gotta be there.
If you're gonna put
Right? Figure it out.
You gotta figure it out.
Hard.
She need to be there.
I agree. I don't disagree. What I'm saying is they're gonna put a 2 guard in there. And then what's so weird is like Dejanay Carrington deserves all WNBA, but she didn't make the All-Star team. Like Enrique,
And she should have made the All-Star team for sure.
There's so many, like we'll see.
They've been changing the rules. Keep changing the rules. They've been changing the rules. You know what I'm saying? So keep changing the rules. If that's what you want to do, we're gonna make the top 7. It's gonna be the top 7 picks.
now it's like NASCAR.
It was the fact that Sabonis will go ahead of LeBron. T put there's more competition at her spot, talking about Angel, and then he also put Alicia. I don't know if he mentioned Alicia Gray or if he mentioned Chelsea Gray, but he just said Gray. But yeah, I mean it's stiff, man. That 4 position is so stiff in the W, as opposed to the guard position. That's the only that's her golden goose right there. But it's not that she couldn't make it up. Both of them should be on. Both of them should be on the. Both of them should have all WNBA consideration. If Angel's not on first, she should absolutely be on second. But she shouldn't. There's no way she should be left off the all WNBA list for sure. And then that's actually, what were you gonna say? And then I was gonna kind of go to the.
I agree with that, Angel. But I think sometimes who else is overlooked is Kennedy Carter.
I was just gonna say Kennedy.
Yeah, don't play that game.
She should have more All-Star. So who are you gonna pick over? Okay, would you rather have Kennedy Carter, Enrique, Caitlin, or there's Dejanay Carrington on that list?
Kennedy Carter should be.
If you had to rank,
she should be first or second team.
Probably Enrique.
There's no way you're gonna put Kate.
Yeah,
you can't put Kennedy over Enrique, and you can't put her over Kalia.
Yeah,
Bro, Enrique is about to set a record this year, I think, in terms of minutes per game. She plays 38.5 minutes per game, breaking her record that she set last year. You know, like, I mean, she played in the most minutes ever in a season last year.
They got to give her some help.
I mean,
that's what I'm saying.
That's a lot.
She has to be out there.
It might be good that she actually
That 14, man.
She needs a break.
I feel bad for her.
I feel bad for her too. That's a lot. Man.
Yeah,
That's like
she
the
got
whole
99
game.
problems and teammates of 1.
Asian Draymond. For me, Carrington goes first. Listen, dog, I've been saying this. I talked to her myself. I told her she's top 10 player in the league. Like, I don't know how she wasn't left on the All-Star team, and she feels some type of way about that. Carrington deserves to be on the first team because she has excellent deep. I think she's the best player on the Connecticut Sun by far. I like Alyssa Thomas. She's the most accomplished. I like DeWanna Bonner, again, they're more accomplished, but Dejanay is the engine of that team. Like, period. She is the engine of that team, and it's not even a question. Dupree agrees with you too, Tasha, and J Book. He put Kennedy as well. Babs put, I think they need to give her a season to get her attitude in check. Oh, they're talking about Kennedy. Kennedy can take over. Kennedy should have been on the All-Star team. So, like,
What?
Yeah,
Come on. That's flash right there. You want to talk about putting on a game to see? Oof.
I call her instant offense. She's I-O.
Yeah.
I-O. For me, she's instant offense. Instant.
Here you go. Asian Draymond, I agree with you. Carter and Carrington not making the All-Star game is stupid. That was just
Kennedy would have dunked. She would have ran down that thing and dunked.
I love
I want to see that.
No, speaking, if I could add this too, they were asking about me about her too. Like, no front, no cap. They were like, why wasn't Kennedy Carter invited or get more considerate? I was like, dog, I don't know. Like, a lot of people, and I'm like, how do you know Kennedy Carter? I asked him, like, and they're like, I don't know. And I was like,
I don't know. I know her name.
it was just so random, not in a bad way, but I'm like, good for you. I'm like, she has a fan base. She absolutely has a strong fan base, Kennedy, and she's such a good player. Which is why I hated when those memes came out this week on TikTok. She's such a good player. I don't even care.
People have long memories in regards to Caitlin Clark, and they haven't forgotten that she did that little push when it was not necessary. But they also forgot, if they have a long memory in regards to Caitlin Clark and a short memory in regards to Angel Reese, because Alyssa Thomas, she put her. I mean, I thought they was in WWE the way Alyssa Thomas did Angel Reese,
right?
With
clothesline.
Yes, I mean it was crazy. So the thought process is one player should be able to take those type of hits and another player shouldn't. So I that's just I don't know.
She did. Okay, well, what I was gonna say is funny enough, and we can move on. Alyssa did something similar in the Germany game. And I looked at my wife and I was like, yeah, she's physical. It's like she's a physical player. She's always getting in those types of mix up. T put, you guys need to realize that both players stepped into their all-star roles this year. I wasn't just talking about CC. She has a history of attitude with other teams. And then T put, the season's not over. If I could just kind of pivot though, if anybody else said anything else, Rob, was quiet. If you had anything else to say, I wanted to kind of talk about this top 25 list. So this was released before the beginning of the season, and I laughed because I know a lot of these writers on this list, and I was like, how do we have this order of this list of these players? And I kind of wanted to just see if you had to re-rank some of these players, what would you do and say? I mean, obviously Angel's not on this list, which I told Whitney, who was one of our co-hosts before. I was like, Angel and Caitlin should be on this top 25 list. I don't care if they haven't played a dribble of basketball. And this is the list. I mean, I just want y'all to see some of these. I mean, Enrique is at number 15, which is laughable.
What?
Yeah. Vandersloot has lost her spot in the top 25 for sure. Natasha Howard she's been hurt.
This was this was before.
Yeah,
before the start of the season.
This was like May 9th.
Holly Copper's at 21, y'all. And entering the year.
Pretty slow.
This list is terrible. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite a list myself before the end of the season and say ranking the top 25. But I do want to get y'all opinions about this, and I'm going to bug y'all about this over the next few weeks. Because I'm going to write a story about this, and I'm going to make the top 25. Actually, we should do that. Let's do that. Let's make a top 20. If ESPN could do it, why can't we? Let's do it.
Let's do it.
So I kind of wanted to just kind of get. Oh, we got some more comments. I don't think Plum should be that high. So okay, good. I don't have to be a hater. Thank you, Jesus. Praise God. Praise.
I'm not a hater.
Number one. I mean, that's kind of what I'm.
Number one.
Yeah, I wanted to.
She's number 8.
NECA's at number 10. Great spot for her.
Mm-hmm. Ellen.
Yeah, Satu hasn't played this season.
I think sometimes when people make these lists, it looks good on paper, but it doesn't look good outside of on paper. We did the same thing in regards to the NBA. We thought that Kevin Durant and all of them, they were going to look good. They looked very good on paper to be contenders. And then the season, they didn't mesh well, right? So a lot of this is, just speculation. And so I think that thought process is that, this is just on paper. Somebody got to be good on the court.
Well, Candace is not playing anymore.
Retired, bro. She was retired. Like when I read this, I was like, "What are we doing, dog?" I like Cheyenne retired, so I'm like, "What are we doing, dog?"
Yeah, that one was a little questionable to me. Not that she's not a great player,
Wait, are we
But
looking at the same list? Because my list
Yeah, this
has
is a
Brianna
little.
Stewart at number 2.
Oh, this is I'm look at me pulling up 2023. My fault, Jordan. Let me see what you got. You can share your
oh,
Number
But that-
2,
So I've got Asia Wilson at number 1.
she is
So,
number 1. Brianna
That's
Stewart
fair.
number 2.
Yeah, and Stewie's 2, Alyssa's 3,
Yeah.
John Carl Jones is 4, and
Yep.
Nafisa's
Nafisa.
5. Yeah.
so they've been re-editing the list throughout the season.
Oh,
Yeah, because when
Okay.
they first dropped that list, I was
oh,
like,
okay.
so they edited the list between 1 and 2.
If they edited the
They've
list, then
been-
why other people are not on it?
again, I thought maybe it's just me because like when I see generational talent, I'm like, yeah, they're one of the best players in the league. I don't have to question it. They should be on there. I'm like, give it to them all. If they're worthy enough, give it to them. Like, I have no problem with that. We got CC has more assists than 75% of WNBA players, only 26 games into her WNBA career. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I heard that stat from Stat Mamba. Somebody
Yeah,
put
me too.
Chelsea Plum shouldn't be on the top 25. Somebody else put Leave Plum alone. She's one of my favorite. Everybody loves Kelsey Plum. Hey, shout out to Kelsey. Shout out to Kelsey.
Does that hurt to say?
No, I mean,
It doesn't-
I'm gonna get her to sign. Get her to sign my shirt. Don't get it twisted. She gonna sign that shirt.
I think Jewel Lloyd should be ahead of Kelsey Plum, though, to be honest.
Oh, yeah, for
course.
sure.
Yeah, and they have
Yeah.
Kelsey at number 8 and Jewel at number 9, and I don't think that's. I'm not for that.
I agree with that. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
a lot of Alicia Gray is a top 15 player. Arike is a top 10 player. If not, DJNA should be on the list, on everybody's list. John Close should be on the list. Again, we should do. Let's set that up. We should do that. I'm gonna get that.
I feel like Plum being ahead of Lloyd is because of how far they went in the playoffs. You know, like I think that really skewed a lot of this voting sort of playoff success.
Seattle and Minnesota has nice guard play. That is from Dupree, and Skylar Diggins is awesome. Courtney Williams is also a great player. So I'm not gonna front. Like, I'm not gonna front on that at all. Kayla McBride is also another good player. Whew.
I
But
think we should come
now
up with our own list.
let's do that. I'm gonna set that up this week. We're gonna do that. I'm gonna get everybody's comments. Jordan,
Okay, Asian Draymond.
Hey, I'm about to say, Tosh Jones is my favorite. He always getting the love. Tosh always getting the love. That's good. The rest of you need to praise Jewel Lloyd. I love Jewel Lloyd. I just talked to her the other day. She's a good player, man. Seattle is so underrated, honestly. Asian. Let me see. I wanted to also okay. So 2 things. One, obviously the WNBA announced a new media deal where they're going to be making over close to 2.5 billion a year, or what was it overall rather in the next 3.5 years? Yeah, Jordan,
Something like that.
Yeah, so
you're a statistician.
so it was like 2.2 million a year, and it goes all the way to 2036. Yeah,
It's
it runs,
11 years, right?
yeah, it runs to
They're gonna opt out.
2036.
They're off it
There's
now.
125 regular season and playoff games distributed, including a minimum of 25 regular season games on Disney, 50 on NBCU, 30 on Prime. Okay, and Disney's going to broadcast 2 first-round series per year, and NBC and Prime are going to get 1 each.
Do y'all feel like it falls short of coverage, or do you feel like this media deal is just like it's legit?
So
It's not too bad.
You know, I actually I first thought that it was like a lot and they should be grateful for how much they got, but I think it's actually the opposite after hearing what other people had to say about it. I think it's actually a lot less, man, because I actually agree with Cheryl Miller's comments. I think they got lowballed, and you know, like some numbers came out. It was covered on the Bill Simmons podcast, where there was this year. It's been 1.6 million views on ABC for Sunday games. For the WNBA games, it's been 1.3 million. Okay, so it's just 300,000 less people watching the WNBA versus the NBA. Okay, Asia Wilson makes like $200,000 a year. Jaylen Brown is going to make like $60 million a year.
Yeah.
So Asia Wilson makes 300 times less.
Yeah,
Crazy.
And Jaylen Brown's like not even a top 5 arguably top 10 player, maybe, right? Whatever.
Wait a minute.
Not according to Grant Hill.
Oh.
Tasha said, "Wait a minute now."
I don't even think
Wait
Yeah,
a
no,
minute.
no, no,
He's
no.
the
He's
Jaylen
not the
Brown.
best player in the league. He's not number
I-
one, though.
He's the
Yeah.
finals MVP, and he
according
just
to
won a
Grant Hill.
chip.
Grant
He's
Hill,
very
Grant
final.
And
He's
he
very
should have
good.
been
He's
on
very
first
good.
team.
He's a very good player.
Agreed.
Let's not get off topic.
I was shouting out Grant should have came to the section, Grant. I was yelling your name, Grant. Should have signed an autograph for Matthew.
but it's like 25% less viewers, 300 times less salary, 35 times less in the TV rights deal for the NBA, which was 7 billion, and this is going to be about 200 million a year. You know, I mean, it's just like, so anyway, fast forward a couple years from now, if these ratings stay similar to where they are at today, but they're not getting compensated relatively similar, there's going to be a strike
Yeah.
in 2 years.
Easily.
They're going to opt out of that contract in 3
Which
years.
is where the like
Rob.
unrivaled thing is going to be a big deal. It's going to be a huge
Mhm.
deal.
And we're
So-
going to get into that. Rob, you had a question. I know if you froze.
Oh no, I mean I agree. I think they got Cheryl Miller was right during the All-Star game briefing, the press that she did before the game. They got lowballed because yeah, like to Jordan's point, they're going to have some tremendous growth, and these players don't
Yeah.
deserve to make $200,000. They should make
Hell
millions
no.
of dollars. They're incredible stars, and let's be honest, I watch more WNBA than NBA these days. To be honest, I find the
Probably,
game
yeah.
to be
Yeah,
like
probably
the,
me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like- being someone who's born in the 80s, right? I watched great players like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan before he became Michael Jordan. And I remember basketball being so amazing like that. The WNBA reminds me about those days of the NBA. It's that artistic. It's that amazing to watch. These passes, these long range shots, the layups that are so amazing to see. The hook shots that Natasha Howard does for the Dallas Wings. And I also think the visibility. It's gonna suck for people who don't have Amazon Prime because they should be able to have it on the major broadcasting network. And it's a shame that some people are gonna miss out on that. I'm not saying everyone's not cable cutting. I have, but not everybody has that luxury. You could be in the boonies, happening to be a WNBA fan. What if you can't? You have the connection to have to watch Amazon Prime. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So that's the tough part,
Yeah, that's the only thing I know. Oh, if y'all had something to add, if y'all want to speak, wait.
I agree with Cheryl. Also, I think similarly what Tasha was saying, I think the W still has issues of catching up. I mean, we can see what happened just with the whole streaming thing. Like they didn't see what was coming. Like anybody could have saw what was getting ready to come into the W with CeCe and Angel coming, and I don't feel like they were prepared. And then when they're going into this media deal, you have to see CeCe and Angel are going to continue to grow the game, but you got people like Paige coming, you got people like Flage coming, you got people like Juju coming.
Yeah.
Like this is what 4 years of players coming into the game, bringing all these people. So yeah, it's a mad lowball offer because it's only going to get better. And I just feel like maybe they're like so used to not getting anything, they're like just taking what they can get.
Yeah.
Instead of holding out and saying, no, if you want to see CeCe play, who brings in 3 million views, you got to pay up. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to come.
Yeah, Scottie Pippen
giving
deal.
you the
The
first-
Scottie Pippen deal.
Right. Like,
they-
you know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the route they're going. So, I mean, I think it's a low ball, but I mean, if you say they can opt out in 3 years and renegotiate, then that's maybe something they can do. But I think I don't know. I ain't no negotiator, but Cheryl said they needed someone strong. They needed someone that can hold out. They needed someone that was, was going to try to get the highest number they could out of it. And maybe I just think the W kind of felt a little short. And then as far as like the Amazon thing, yeah, not everybody, the whole issue with the W not being seen for all these years prior to this is because they lost the being able to be seen on ABC or CBS or whatever. And it kind of went to these abstract channels and stuff like that. Now it's coming back. But now it's like, okay, now we got to go, we're going to put it on a paywall, which is Amazon or Disney Plus or whatever it is.
Right.
And some people, they're not going to be able to see it. I mean, the economy is not great. People are having to cut the cord or not be able to pay for some things, but the fire broke in or what do they call it, jailbroken Fire Stick.
Mhm.
So I've heard to be able to see
Yeah,
it.
So I've heard.
So I've
So
heard
I heard.
about those things.
Yeah.
But I wish it would be a little bit more accessible. But I also know they're looking at the dollar, so it's kind of up and down. But yeah, it should have been more money involved, I think, because Asia is not even the highest paid player on her team, let alone in the W, and that's an atrocity to me.
Blasphemy.
Eight, if I could add, and then I'll let y'all get back. AC the Chiller put true. That's true of most sports, though. There are always channel barriers like Amazon Prime. So sorry, farewell. Put I pay more for my gym membership and Amazon Prime. I pay more for my gym membership and Amazon Prime than Disney put together. 6'8". What's good, brother? How you doing? 6'8". Jackie Young.
Yeah, Jackie is.
I love
Not
Jackie.
saying that Jackie
love
doesn't
Jackie.
deserve the money.
I love
Asia
Jackie.
deserves more money. That's what I'm
Right.
saying.
You ain't gonna
Yeah.
never hear me say nothing about that. I love me some Jackie Young.
I love Jackie.
I want everybody to get their bread, but I think too a lot of this thought process. I'm interested to see how these contracts play out for the players later on, right? Like who's going to be the highest paid, or even the top 10 highest paid
Everybody
once they get millions of dollars, because that's what they deserve, millions of dollar contracts. And I can't wait for that. I do believe, like you said, Jay Boog, that they took the first deal because this is the first time that they actually made money. And so they're just like googly eyed, like, oh, you're willing to give us that? We'll take it, right? But I also think that it was a smart move by them to say we can opt out in 3 years. And if I was the person who was doing these deals right now, I'm already working on, even though I got 3 years, I'm already working on the new deal, because it's going to be a new deal after the 13, right? That's FDR, right? We're going to take it back to history lesson. Here comes a new deal, buddy.
New deal.
A new deal is
I love
happening,
it.
right? And so in that thought process, I'm already preparing for this new deal. I'm already talking to people who are ready to compete. I'm already going to people like TNT to go to ABC who just missed out, right? Like, yo, pick up the women. You know what I'm saying? This is your opportunity to get back into the game, to put some skin back into the game. So I'm already making those connections, making those contacts, similar to what Sharon Miller did with the All-Star. She took the job for free because she knows she wanted to walk her way into this league, and she's walking her way into the league. You know, sometimes you got to think strategy, and I think
The long game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You got to think strategy. And so in the thought process, like I said before, the WNBA is hiring. So we need to, think about strategy in that thought process. You got to think about the long game. And I think this is, again, where diversity comes into play. And it's not necessarily diversity in regards to color and race, although I am for that. Right. But it's also diversity in regards to what's happening. The people who are on top of, Twitter, on top of, streaming, that they're on top of what's happening. They have their ear to the ground about what's happening in the future. And I think sometimes the WNBA, not sometimes, I think these companies like this, they need to see that the old guard is no longer the guard that's in charge.
Facts.
Right.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. Huge
Spitting.
facts.
Spitting.
Yes.
Cool.
There was one thing I kind of wanted to bring up. So last episode, you two weren't on, nothing bad. But I guess I got into it, or I had a little bit of pushback with another journalist. Her name is Jasmine Harper. I like reading her work. And I'm gonna share this with y'all because I kind of wanted to see what your takes were. And Tasha, you kind of just literally just talked about what I kind of let's read this. Let's read this first. Asian Draymond, Tasha Jones making a New Deal reference. A woman again. Tasha, they love you.
Tasha got a fan.
I know.
Hey,
You're winning this.
Go to her website, Asian
Please.
Draymond.
Yes,
Follow
please
her.
Go to IamTashaJones.com. I am a poet and writer, so go ahead.
Amen.
This is my merchandise.
That's why she spits the way she does. Like, don't you see that?
Yeah. No, but I'm really just grateful, though. Thank you for the opportunity, DJ.
So this is what I wanted to talk about. All right. So boom. So I've been trying to, how I've been trying to get
Take that comment down because I can't see it.
Let me
Please.
put that down. My fault. Let me put this down. Let me see if I. All right. I've been trying to get a lot more females on our show, or women, females, ladies. I don't know which word to use. Don't hate me on. I've been trying to get a lot more.
Women is fine.
Sex,
Yes.
women. I thought I said women first to start. Okay. But this is kind of what Jasmine talked about. So I guess we're going into a debate or whatever. But she wrote this. I'm gonna read it. So she put, if TNT matches Amazon's broadcast rights deal, and it ends up winning, they better do right by WNBA coverage. And this goes back to what you just said. I love Shaq, Ernie, Kenny, and Chuck, but they don't have enough range to cover women's basketball. We want legitimate experts to talk about the W and its full context. And I wrote this. I put, like, I disagree. Not saying that I don't want an expert in there, but I would like the inside crew to talk the WNBA if that's something that they chose to do, because I feel like they're knowledgeable basketball analysts. So I put, let the inside crew talk WNBA hoops. I can't believe attitudes from people who try to act like new fans or anyone else who's watching Jump Street cannot participate. And it's just letting the game grow. And then she called me a victim, which I don't understand why everybody in this world is saying victim mentality. Why is everybody a victim? Please take your victim mentality elsewhere. I've never been a downer on new WNBA fans. Then I'm going to fast forward. It says, you don't hire somebody for thousands to be somewhat knowledgeable. What are your thoughts on this? Because Tasha, I'll start with you, Tasha, because you just said this. You're just saying they should bring this program to Turner and let them kind of turn this upside down. What do you think about this?
Yeah, I am the person who advocates for equity, right? And I do believe that there need to be more women who are commentating and more women who have I just think it needs to be a freshness in regards to the thought process. For some people, this is new, and because it's new, right? I think maybe people want to see some new faces. I'm not afraid of the TNT group, though, because I love them. I like the camaraderie that team had. I'm really kind of sad that it's going to be broken up, and I hope that they, transfer over. I do think that Charles Barkley was one of those people, like, he's retiring, and maybe he's not going to transfer over. But it's something to be said about that camaraderie, to have camaraderie on a commentating team, to be respected and to be respectful, right? And I think that's something that over time the WNBA is going to pick and choose from. I think it'll be a great opportunity for some of those players who are leaving the game soon and who have already left the game can pick up and get commentating positions. And I think that's going to be helpful. But I think it's also good for people like us who are trying to put themselves out there and show that we have the capability of doing this work to get some, airtime in regards to the thought process too. So I'm not against it, right? Like, I'm not against that, but I definitely feel like it's a dog eat dog world out there, and either you're going to play with the big dogs or you're not. And so, but I definitely think that there should be more opportunity for women in this space, but I'm not going to take away the people who've paved the way. That's my opinion.
Cool.
I agree. I mean, I watched Inside NBA. Like, I would normally watch them before I even watch the game. If the game came on, I'm always recording them just to see what they're saying.
Yeah.
Because they are legends in the game. They know the game. You know what I'm saying? It's they have a certain authority in the men's game. The only pushback I would get as far as that team being covering women's sports, I think we've seen a large disconnect between a lot of them covering women's sports and talking about everything but the actual game and bringing a lot of stuff into it and putting but I'm just saying, like, if we're trying to grow the women's game, we got to actually talk about them playing basketball, not talk about who's jealous and who's this or who's that. And I just feel like it rubbed me the wrong way to hear Charles say what he said about the women being petty. And I was watching the final. So of course I'm watching him, and he's just going off something he didn't know. He was going off of what somebody else had said, not even having the real context of what was said. Kenny has said some questionable things during the shootout thing with Sabrina against Steph. But if we did have more diversity, like Tasha was saying, more authority coming from the women's side, people that's actually involved in the women's basketball, that's been following it or have played, and also have some authority, I think it could be a good thing. I just wish I think the men could cover it. I just wish it was a little bit more education as far as what the game is, because I don't think they haven't been watching. So they're just going off of what they're hearing, what they're seeing people tweet about, what's the hot buzzword. So if they can be educated and really watch and speak from a game standpoint, I think it could be good. But yeah, I would love to see more women be involved, especially like someone said, Maya Moore coming back to commentate Candace Parker, or some of the older players that are no longer playing, but have some authority in it. So, I mean, I'm not going to call you a victim. So I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do think we need to look at that. I'm not just ready to hand things over just to the TNT inside the NBA guys just to talk about our game. Yeah.
I want to make sure too that my thought process is that I am not going to hand anything over.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying you. No, I'm not saying you.
Yeah.
I mean in general.
Yeah, but I also feel like that there should be people who are not afraid to call it out. You know what I'm saying? Like when what was the young lady's name who told Stephen A. Look, was that
Monica McNutt?
Yeah. McNutt.
Monica. Yeah.
Well, she was like, yo, you could have done this 3 years ago, and you would have been ahead of the game, right? In the thought process. I think some more of that needs to be on the forefront.
I agree.
You got to be able to call out. Look, that's your thought process, and I know you are. You like coming into to your job half cocked. Somebody could have told Charles Barkley that, right? Like you like coming to your job half cocked, right? And because you like coming in like that, you don't have the full story. You know what I'm saying? So in the thought process, let me help you in regards to that, and help you understand what's happening in the league. And I think a lot of that comes with the thought process that even women, sometimes we get so happy about having a job that we don't just share our thought process and our whole feelings. And I think, you have to have women who are not afraid to speak the truth to power.
That part.
When you have these positions, I'm a writer. My favorite writer of all time is Mari Evans. And she said, when you have the microphone, use it to say what needs to be said. And I think sometimes when people have the microphone, they want to say, oh, I'll say that next time, but it might not be a next time. And so if it's not a next time, what is your legacy going to be at the end of today? And I think sometimes you have to look at it like that, even though, it is a game that has to be played. Right? Like, what are you going to give up and not say in order to be back tomorrow? And at the same time, what is a non-negotiable? This has to be said, and I'm going to say it, right? And that's just the way it is. And you have to be able to walk away with whatever it is that the outcome that comes from that. And so I think it's a lot of growing on everybody's part, not just the men who are already covering it, not just the NBA players who are already having it, but the women too, because the women have to be able to say, my opinion is valid, and I'm going to make room for me. Even if you don't make room for me, I'm going to elbow my way in and make sure that I'm here to stay.
And they shouldn't have to elbow the way in. That's what I'm like. I want, and we're gonna have more female co-hosts. I promise that. But I have Maria coming on next week. But what I want to do is, this is very poignant analysis by both of you. But I wanted to hear both of your takes on this. If you have more to say, but I'm gonna read some.
Rob has something.
Oh, Rob, let me read some of these comments. And I promise I'm gonna give to you. So Mike put the TNT crew could comment on the game itself, which I think would be cool. May not know all the NBA, the players, but Chuck doesn't know all the NBA players anyway, which also
he comes to work half.
Exactly.
Pause.
Right. I know. I watch him. I see.
Dupree agrees with both y'all. He put women that play the sport have a better take than men. Jalen put CC for rookie of the year. Mike put Candace did good with the NBA. Victim was too much. Dupree put Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharp have ruined the experience for me. Yes, speak your truth or the truth. And then Dupree also put Monica McNutt is the truth. And I told her that when I met. Rob, what were you gonna say?
I gotta say the thing about this pivotal moment for the WNBA and why we want to have more women speak up for women's sports is that in a way we turn to sports as a microcosm for society. Let's be honest. Like in basketball, it's probably the most diverse sport around. We saw it in the NBA. Like I don't want to dance around it, but African Americans have turned to the NBA to have a platform, not only as talented athletes, but to use their platform for social justices, which has been great to strive towards equality in life. And I think it's good to have women out there in prominent roles to hopefully push the goalpost forward. And I think that's an uncomfortable thing for men in society and the politicians in our world to have powerful women speak up, to use a platform like the WNBA, because they're scared of change. They're scared to see women being more than what Harrison Butker thinks about them. And to me, this is where I love the WNBA, because it's a platform to affect positive changes, not only for people from different walks of life, different gender orientations, but also for women and as a whole. Because as a man, I've never understood why there's a disparity between men and women. I feel like women should have always had their fair day in the sun, get paid as much as the men have been paid, to have the ways to entertain, to be as admired, as respected as men. But for some reason, the rest of the world doesn't think that way. I never understood that, because as a guy, I'm like, I don't care. I mean, if you're talented, it doesn't matter what your gender is. You're damn talented. You should have a chance to go and use that, your God-given skill, to be out there. And it's just a shame that, you know, that's all the things. Like, you can be a man and have qualified opinions, and women can talk about men's sports and have qualified opinions. But I think as a whole, we have to remember that sports is a great way to push things aside from the negative of life and to hopefully affect positive changes, because we do need them in life. And I think it's a good escape too from the realities that we face every day.
Preach. Let me. I'm not. If y'all think
tired.
Yeah. It's
I'm on like
the
my
time
third.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm saying it's late there, right?
Oh yeah, that's right. It's so you're 4 o'clock. It's 4 o'clock where y'all are at. Oh my god.
It's 5 o'clock
Yeah.
where I'm at.
It's
I
4:05 for me.
I definitely missed that. I'm
It's
not
4.
tired. I've been staying up to like 5 a.m. every day. But this is just like I realized, I'm like, why did I? Okay. But no, I've had a few beers. I'm good though.
I'm actually going to have to go. It's been great being on with you guys. I have to jump off of here. It's 5 o'clock where I am in Eastern Standard Time in the United States. Asian Draymond, I definitely want to talk to you about Claudia Rankin. I'm not even going to be mad about that. We can definitely have conversations and coffee in regards to Claudia Rankin and any other writers that you like, because, you know, I'm a writer. So thank y'all so very much. See y'all later, J Bug, Rob.
Don't leave me.
Take care.
Yeah, see y'all later. Peace.
I'll give you a follow.
All right.
Appreciate it, Tasha. Thank you.
Thanks, Tasha.
Yes, that was Angel Reese to answer, but that's funny. The last thing I was gonna ask about was Angel Reese. What are y'all thoughts about Unrivaled? Obviously, I'm excited about it. Boog is excited about it.
Of course.
Yeah.
But I was gonna say, do y'all think this Unrivaled league is a game changer for women's basketball? Like I do.
I think it is. I mean, aren't they, the average pay is supposed to be more than, you know, what they're paying anybody in the U.S. right now, any professional women's basketball. So that's a game changer. Getting those investors to do that is a game changer. That's just kind of showing you where women's sports, especially basketball, is going.
Yep.
And then giving them the opportunity to, you know, for these women not to necessarily have to go overseas in order to make money. They can stay home with their families and stuff and be able to do that. It's a shorter season as well, so they get a bit of an off season, then they can come in and do this. So I see it growing. I see it being great. And then just naming Angel Reese was especially be the last one before this break was, you know, definitely calculated, and they already know that that's just going to start the wheels to turning. Is bringing those eyes that Angel has and those fans that she has to that. Now people are paying attention, like, wait a minute, okay, I know they said Chelsea, I know they said Jewel, I know they said, you know, Arike, but Angel as a rookie, I mean, I already know at some point they're going to announce CC. If it depends on if the people can do it. Like, of course, they've already signed the contract, so it just depends if they can or want to do it. But I can see they did say more rookies were coming, so I'm assuming it's probably going to be. It's going to be who?
I thought it was going to be Aaliyah. I don't know if Caitlin. I was going to ask Caitlin about this before All-Star, but I didn't get the chance to. I was going to ask her about that same question. Are you going to play in Unrivaled? And how do you feel about it? And
well, she probably, if she signed it, she probably can't say anything because they're announcing the names. They're like dropping somebody every day. So I don't know if she would say, even if she was, we're going to do it. But I don't know. I can see her in it. That'll be a league where I say she should be in if she wants it. I'll say that. I don't know if she wants to do it or whatever.
I don't think she will, because it's like, if you're making $28 million from Nike, it's a league.
Well, it's not about the money. Angel don't need the money.
If it's not about the money, I definitely don't see her play.
Yeah, Angel doesn't need the money. She does. I think it's just the fact that you're playing with, you know, it's kind of like iron sharpens iron. You have another opportunity to, you know, work on your game or try different things out on your game right before the season. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
for sure.
It's got a great list of investors too. Like John Skipper is going to be involved with it from ESPN. Yeah, it's got so many stars in it. I mean the pay. I mean, what's not to love? You know.
Well,
Mhm.
the WNBA is gonna get ready. They're gonna shut that down. I mean, obviously with this new
You think?
yeah, because with the media deal, the players are not gonna need to play in Unrivaled. You know what I'm saying? It's like now that's why I said if they did this like 4 or 5 years before, they would have something. But now with this deal, it's like if you're making, let's say they're making 10 million a year, you're not gonna have to play overseas anyway. So then it's like,
what's the
point of having
timeline? The timeline of the seasons.
They play from January till February,
March.
January
It's
till March.
8 weeks.
Yeah,
8 weeks
it's,
of
Starting in
March.
mid-January.
yeah, it's not long. It's like January. It's like 2 or 3 months. Yeah. So it's like now it's like, okay, if you're making 10 mil, like in 2 or 3 years, they're gonna be making 10 or 15 million a year. So it's like, why would I play in a league like that? But they did have I think they have a great idea. If they're really trying to ramp it up, the thing, like I said, the thing that kind of separates them is having the ones league. They can bring in veterans of the WNBA, like a Maya Moore, like a Candace Parker, and they can also use younger players that are in college. Like
That part. That can be the D, like the
letting
D League almost.
I'm letting everybody in the door. I don't like if you're good, you're playing. I don't care. Like that's
You
where
know,
it's
it's interesting with the new media rights deal. If players are going to make more money, I feel like team owners would try to prohibit their players from playing in second leagues. Yeah, you know, like I mean, the Sixers aren't too happy that Embiid's in the Olympics right now. Kawhi Leonard is playing in was playing, you know. Yeah. So I mean, I could see, you know, teams not wanting their players to play in a second league,
especially if they're playing 10, 15 million, even two. Now again, if they're making 200,000 like they are now, they can't really say too much. But
right,
that's
exactly,
change.
exactly.
So it's like, you know.
Yeah. You want to protect.
So what if they get investors to increase? I mean, I guess I don't see it necessarily as a competition to the W. I just see it as kind of like a supplement, giving them, because these players are going to work out somewhere anyway. Like they're trying to up their skills. Like we don't see what Asia is doing, but Asia's doing some kind of workout to come back and be the player that she is. So why not let it be something where they can get some extra money, even if it's not a 3 million that they may get or whatever in a W, it's still making some change. You know what I'm saying? It's still.
I got an answer for that. They could get hurt. They could get hurt.
Well, no. I was going to say that. I was going to say that.
Yeah,
if there's a downside, they can get hurt. I get that. I was just saying on that part. I mean,
that's
the other side.
That's the classic. You know, I mean, you know, when football players get hurt playing basketball or something, team owners like pull their. I mean, they pull their hair out, or like, who was the guy that like cut his hand really bad?
John Paul.
That's one of them. He got his hand blown up by a firework in Miami
10 years ago.
Yeah, John Paul. Yeah, the defensive lineman for the Giants.
That's right.
He blew up a finger with fireworks or something like that.
His hand, bro.
Oh yeah,
his hand. He ain't got no right hand.
Yeah, so I mean, just the risk of injury. The more people make, like the more not going to be allowed to do other things. That's just the nature of the beast.
So I don't think it's sustainable as what it is seeming to be right now.
Deal, I was like,
not because of the media rights deal.
Yeah, that's the only thing that kind of like now if I'm Fee, this is what I'm doing, and I'm Stewie. I'm going straight to Kathy's door. Eating Brett, we got to have a talk. Buy my league or be a partner or something. Like they got to get that involved with it, especially if it's only a summer league. Talking about the WNBA and they're playing in the winter, make it winter basketball. Like make it a winter basketball type of thing, and then like get them. They need to get the W involved. I'm happy that they're not because they have something there on their hands, but the W is going to try and shut that down. They're going to try and shut that down, just like they're trying to shut down Ice Cube's league. They're going to try and shut that down, or at least just
for sure
minimize it so like no active players can play, so that they're only going to have, you know, collegiate players or former players, which I don't want to see. I want to see this one-on-one league with best players in their prime. I want to see Aaliyah. I want to see Arike and Kalia go against each other on this one-on-one. Like that's what I'm hyped.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think Kayla going, because she's not a one-on-one type player, bro. She's not.
But you don't have.
She's not gonna play this league, bro.
You don't think she would be on the 3-on?
She would definitely. I mean, but it's about the. I think I'm not gonna say it's about the money because she already got the respect. So it's like she's not playing for respect. So it's like if you're not playing up the money, why? What's the purpose of her plan? Everybody thinks she's good.
But who doesn't want to work? I mean, I guess I don't see who doesn't want to work on their game with what they call the best players in the world. I mean, you still and you're building that camaraderie. These are WNBA players that you know you don't care about any of that.
No. I'm saying I don't see it. For me, I love the fact that Angel's playing in this league. I just don't see it from her. You know what I'm saying? Like if I'm her, I'm thinking, okay, I'm already good, and I'm already rich, and everybody already thinks I'm good. And I think I'm better than these players anyway, because I made all WNBA my rookie year. So why am I? So that means there's only 4 other people that are better than me. So then it's like, why am I going to play in this?
So
league?
she's too good to play in the league, is what you're saying.
I'm not. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying
You're saying that's what she thinks.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I also say this: it's like, okay, you have the opportunity to. It's like it's just the risk versus the reward. I can get hurt, and I'm already good, and I'm not making enough money.
The risk benefit is there now, but it won't be in 5 years.
Right. And then I think about it like this: I'm like in the off season, if I'm her, Tyrese Halliburton is in my backyard, and I could call Steph, and I could call blank, and I could call blank. So it's like, why wouldn't I just go work out with them? You know what I'm saying? That's my only thing. Angel, she need to be working out with Kevin Durant. I don't think that that's her boyfriend or whatever, but it's the same difference. If you got that type of power,
she's gonna work out at that new facility.
Yes,
but I mean, like, I would love to see her practice her off the dribble moves with KD because he's a small. Like,
I mean, she still might. I don't think this is trashing anything else.
Yeah, that's what she could be. You know what I'm saying? I think she could. I'm not saying she could be like KD, obviously, but I'm just saying having the perimeter skills off the dribble skills, I think it would benefit her, and I'm happy she's in Paris. Make some connections, and hopefully you can go work out with him over the off season. Nothing crazy, obviously.
Just try to build up enough leverage.
Is Katie dating Angel? I have no clue because
no. So that's how rumors start. Don't be saying that stuff out on here, DJ.
I'll talk to y'all about that off camera. But no, they're not dating. They're not dating. Let's just say that they're not dating.
That's a great question by
Asian Draymond.
Yeah,
for real, are Katie and no, it's not a thing. I'm gonna talk to y'all about that.
No.
It's not a thing. Bye, man. It's not a thing. It's not.
Quit saying that. Just tell us off air because you're making people be like, "What? Well, something's going on."
That's episode 13. We out of here. We'll catch y'all later. I want to talk to them about this off camera.
Oh my gosh!
Peace out, Cub Scouts.
Bye bye.
All right.